What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update, your daily and Postecoglou update as well. But Sim is back in the studio. How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Haven't missed much, thankfully. Usually when I go away, something important happens, but...
I was certain like someone was going to get hired while you're away. But...
I was certain about it as well, but thankfully, we're pretty much as we were.
Thankfully.
Well, I don't want to miss it.
But anyway, let's get into the updates. Starting off with Ange Postecoglou. Paul O'Keefe saying Postecoglou is the front runner for the Tottenham job by a mile. The Athletic saying Postecoglou is in pole position to become the next Tottenham manager and could be appointed next week. Romano saying that Tottenham have scheduled a new round of talks with Ange Postecoglou at the beginning of next week. He remains the leading candidate. The Telegraph are claiming that Postecoglou is attracting interest from Leicester, and Get French Football Now are saying that Marseille are considering Celtic's Ange Postecoglou as a replacement for Igor Tudor. There's also been some quotes from Harry Redknapp speaking about Ange Postecoglou as well, and he says, I said to a few people I thought he would be a front runner. If I was looking at somebody and if I was the chairman of Tottenham, he would be right at the top of my list, so it doesn't surprise me.
I mean, in terms of like list of managers who play the brand of football that Spurs want, I'm not totally mad at it. Not to say it wouldn't be an underwhelming appointment, because especially when you've had Conte and Mourinho and Pochettino, and then we've turned down Nagelsmann and all these different things. Like when it comes to Postecoglou, you look at his CV and his age as well. It's definitely not in line with what Spurs probably said they were looking for. But he definitely, in terms of his man management style, in terms of the football he tries to play with his teams, in terms of how well received he is at his former clubs, that's all very, very positive. But I don't know if he's at his age. I'm not saying like he's too old or anything, but I just question whether, like, tactically I want something like really fresh and like new and someone really innovative. I don't know if he represents that. I know he represents something very different to what we've just had for the past 4 years, which is good, and I'm happy about that. And I don't like the whole hashtag no to Postecoglou. I don't see a reason for that.
It's ridiculous.
What's why?
It's ridiculous.
I don't see a reason
but what I would say is that, and I was having a chat about Dave on the update yesterday about this, and what he will do, he'll come and he will bring the brand of football that we're so desperate to see at Tottenham. And I think there'll be a togetherness because of it. But I do think that there is a bit of naivety in his play, how he likes to play his football. And I feel like in certain games this next season, if we do hire him, especially maybe to the likes of Man City and maybe even to the likes of Arsenal's or teams that are really strong attacking wise, I feel like we could get pumped in certain games next season.
Yeah, but I feel like as well you're going to have to go through that. That's just how you have to be for the first year or so. Similar to how we were under Pochettino, we also had games like we would get pumped by City or something, because you have to kind of work out your way of playing, and you have to take the good with the bad, because you have to just perfect how you want to play, and then you can start, like, once you've perfected it, then you can start like tweaking the tactics for certain games and stuff like that, once you've got your set way of playing and your philosophy intact. So look, would I be excited, but would I be happy with his appointment? Yes, I would be happy with it. It doesn't really excite me right now, but I'm sure it's one of those things that if he does get appointed, and once I hear what he's got to say, and once I hear how he's going to bring this Tottenham team forward, what his plan is, and once I see what he wants to do on the pitch, I'm sure I'll buy into him. And he does seem like a character for sure that the fans can get behind and fall in love with. I could definitely agree with that.
For me, he seems like a Martin Yeo appointment. Like, he comes across with that aura, that that daddy figure a little bit, that figure where he really can resonate with the fans, and as well he plays the good football as well. So I think he is a bit of a Martin Yeo appointment, to be honest. And he's also a guy that nobody knew really before we were linked with him. And Martin Yeo was exactly the same, right? He came in as assistant manager, nobody knew who he was, and he came in and straight away he got the fans on side. And I feel like Ange Postecoglou could do something similar.
Yeah, just the only reservations I have is the nature of the Premier League right now, with so many amazing managers, not just good man managers, but like tactically, it's never been tougher, I think, in the Premier League, with how many amazing coaches we have. Like, is he in the same bracket in terms of talent in that facet? I just don't know.
He's not.
We don't. He might be, because he's never really had a chance apart from Celtic in a major football in a major league, but then again there might be a reason for that. I don't know. So if he's not in that same bracket, will he be able to compete tactically with those managers long term?
Remains
he
to be
might
seen,
be able to get the players on side and get more energy and get more higher work rate and stuff like that. But tactically, is he going to be on that same level as where we want to be long term? That's the big question mark. And right now, it's hard to see yet that he will be.
Yeah. But I do feel like he can get the fans on side, and that's a big part of where we're going wrong at the moment, because the fans just been disinterested for so long now, and that's a big job for the next manager, is to get the fans and the players to buy into what he wants to do. And I think that once they see the way he wants to play his football, how attacking we are, I think the fans can buy into it. But look, it is an underwhelming appointment, but we'll see. It's not done yet, so have to wait and see how it goes.
Do you think from his side though? No, he knows that he wasn't first choice. I think that's obvious. And the last time we went down a route where we couldn't get a load of our first choices, we ended up sacking that manager very quickly. Like, do you reckon he has to look at that a bit and just, think about whether it's right to under that situation to take the job under those circumstances?
Yeah, I think he does have to think about that, to be honest. But I take you back to Maurizio Pochettino, who also wasn't first choice, but he got the fans on side because the fans bought into what he wanted to do. Martin Jol as well wasn't a first choice, but he got fans on side because the fans bought into what he was going to do, and he showed the passion for Tottenham Hotspur. It's different to like someone like Nuno, who just plays the complete opposite with the way the fans want to see. And Mourinho and Conte already had reservations from the fan base about their Chelsea links and also their style of football. So I do think this Postecoglou is more of the ilk of a Pochettino and a Martin Jol than a Conte, a Nuno, and a Mourinho.
Fair enough.
Let's move on. Let's talk about QSI now. We heard months ago that they were interested in acquiring a minority share of Tottenham Hotspur. Dan Kilpatrick has come out with an update, and he says the Qatari owners of PSG are in talks to invest in clubs in Spain, Italy and Brazil, having cooled their interest in Tottenham. QSI, which is chaired by PSG president Nasser El Khelaifi and has owned French champions since 2011, is focused on adding a minority stake in Malaga in La Liga, Sampdoria in Serie A, well, now they've been relegated, and also the Brazilian side Santos. So Spurs are off their list, apparently.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I was never getting excited by their potential investment. I thought that it was always just tenuous links. So if it happens, it happens, but I was never going to believe that it was a possibility. So it is what it is, and there you go.
Another one bites the dust.
Yeah, exactly. Move on.
Let's talk about some players now. Andre Onana, the Inter Milan goalkeeper, an Inter publication called Sempre Inter claimed that Tottenham have joined the race to sign Inter Milan goalkeeper Andre Onana.
Yeah, and I actually like Onana. I think he's another goalkeeper who's really good with passing out the back. He's been really great in their Champions League run. Whether he wants to come to Tottenham right now, considering he's number one for a team like Inter Milan, I mean, remains to be seen. Maybe, look, if they do win the Champions League, maybe he might feel like, what more can he do at that club? He's won the league there as well, hasn't he? I think. Did he win the league under Conte?
No, I don't. I think he joined after,
maybe
didn't he?
He joined after, yeah, I think you might be right. I was a big fan of him when he was at Ajax as well. I think we were heavily linked then, and we kind of missed the boat because we had Lloris was playing well at the time.
But what about his temperament and stuff like that? Because he just left the Cameroon camp, didn't he, during the World Cup?
Yeah, definitely got to be questioned. And also, I don't think he's the most commanding keeper from crosses and stuff. I do think there's a bit of a red flag there. So I do think, look at him, but I would definitely go for someone like Rare ahead of him, just because he can do it in the Premier League. He's a bit of a stronger keeper. I do think Onana's probably a bit better with the ball at his feet though. But for me, I know it's now the modern way to play with the ball with your feet with the goalkeeper. I understand that. But for me, I still want my goalkeeper to be better at goalkeeping than with the ball at his feet.
Yeah, I mean, they need to have strong points in every facet to be a modern goalkeeper, to be honest.
I'm saying I'll take a bit of a reduction with ball playing to have a good goalkeeping ability.
Take Ederson, for example. I don't think he's the greatest keeper in the world when you look at maybe other keepers around the Premier League, but he's just so elite with his feet. It makes such a difference to the way Man City want to play. But
he never has to be...
That's the thing. That's at Man City. That's at Man City. Exactly. But at Tottenham, you're going to need someone that's a really good goalkeeper as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about Harry Kane now. A publication called Arevalo are saying that Harry Kane would have a big desire to play for Real Madrid, the only club he would leave the Premier League for. It would be complicated for Real Madrid to get Harry Kane for a fee that could exceed 100 million. Additionally, the relationship between Real Madrid and Tottenham is not the best at the moment. Harry Kane's desire to play for Real Madrid is above the other proposals he has on the table at the moment. But having said that, since making these notes, Karim Benzema, I think, has committed or is about to commit for next year to play at Real Madrid again. He won't be going to the Saudi League. But what happened to that special relationship that we have with Real Madrid?
Yeah, I think a lot happened with that special relationship. We never got anything out of it. I think that was probably the biggest problem. I don't see him going to Madrid. Maybe in a year's time, if Benzema, has one more year at Madrid and then decides to leave, and then Kane's on a free, maybe he'll think about it. Just because he knows that he's going to be competing for Champions Leagues every year. He'll obviously, La Liga is not an easy league to win as well, so that would be a big achievement if he can go win a title. So I wouldn't be. I mean, I think Madrid is probably one of the clubs, foreign clubs, I think people like Bayern and PSG, no, but Madrid, I think there would be a part of him that might be interested in that, in my opinion.
Biggest club in world football.
Yeah, so I wouldn't completely dismiss him wanting to go to Madrid.
But I would dismiss
Bayern.
it. I would dismiss it before he breaks the record, though. I don't think he goes there before breaking Alan Shearer's record.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, depends. He's not even that far away. He could go to Madrid for a couple of years and still come back and break it, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think he would want to get that out of the way, and then he can go on his excursions throughout Europe and see what he can do.
But in terms of how the Postecoglou thing affects Kane, in my opinion, I just think, for me, as much as I think Postecoglou could be a good thing for team environment, Kane at his stage of his career, yes, he wants the record, but he needs trophies. We all know that. That's what he wants to be competing for. And I don't think Postecoglou's the kind of guy that's going to be able to convince him to stay long term. I mean, you could argue no one is, but I would say, if we did have someone like Nagelsmann, who, in my opinion, could compete with these top coaches in the long term, then maybe, if Kane stays for a year and sees what Nagelsmann's trying to do, then maybe he can be convinced to stay on. For me, I don't see that possibility with Postecoglou. So I do think we're pretty much signing off the sale. Or we know that Kane's going to be leaving if Postecoglou comes, so we have to accept that. But whether he goes to Madrid this summer, I don't see that happening, to be honest.
To be honest with you, I don't think any manager after Conte could persuade Harry Kane to stay part of his contract. Even Nagelsmann, I'm not too sure, to be honest. But I think once you burn Poch, Mourinho and Conte, I think you know exactly where this club's ambitions lie, and I think Harry Kane knows that full well. So yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I just don't think any manager after Conte can convince Kane to stay, and I'm fully resigned to the fact for him leaving at the end of his contract. I do think he'll give us one more year, but after you burn Poch, you burn Conte and you burn Mourinho, I think Kane exactly knows where this club ambitions lie, and that's not with winning the Premier League, and it's hardly with winning trophies. So I think that's the fact of the matter.
I don't disagree with that at all, but I just think that when you're in an environment, your mind can change as much. If you see things that you really truly believe in terms of actually having a chance of winning, I think he can be swayed if he truly can believe in a new manager. I'm not to say we're going to sign someone he's going to sign straight away, but he has to see it with his own eyes. And I don't think Postecoglou would be capable of that, but I do think someone like Nagelsmann potentially, not definitely, but potentially could be. But look, I think right now it's almost certain that he's going to leave.
Yeah, writing's on the wall. But also, by the way, what we're saying about him joining Real Madrid, if it comes to a point where he, at the end of his contract, and he's got an offer on the table from Real Madrid and he's got an offer on the table from Manchester United, I firmly believe he goes to Manchester United over Real Madrid.
Depends where they are.
Well, if they keep improving under Ten Hag, which the way they did this season, I mean, I don't see a reason why he wouldn't, because it's opportunity for a club that's used to winning trophies to be back to where they belong, and also he goes and very likely beats Alan Shearer's record. So I think it's a very good chance of him going there.
Yeah, I think most likely he would choose United, but there's still factors whether he feels like United are definitely going to compete for these big things. Because right now, as much as they're doing well, I guess they're on 2 domestic cup finals, but in terms of those big trophies, there's nothing certain that they're going to definitely be competing for them next year. But if they are, then I think there's no reason not to go to United.
All right, let's talk about Dejan Kulusevski now. Ali Gold brings us the structure of his permanent deal to Tottenham, and the structure is they're going to sign Dejan Kulusevski for 30.2 million, which will be spread out over a period of 5 years. What a deal that is!
Sounds like a Levy deal.
A Levy special.
Exactly. Look, I think most deals in these day and age are done by installments, and that's how structures are. So it doesn't surprise me. 30 million for someone of Kulusevski's quality, I think it's a great deal. You've seen wingers, didn't Leon Bailey or something go for similar? Like, you've seen wingers who are not as good as him go for more money or similar amount of money.
Didn't they want similar for Arnaut Danjuma? We signed Steven Bergwijn for a similar fee.
Exactly. So I think it's a good deal. I'm happy that we can put this speculation to bed once that's announced, because I wasn't liking the noises that were coming out, but I think it's important we get that done, and I think he's going to be an important player for the new manager.
Yeah. Let's talk about Hugo Lloris now. Some interesting quotes coming out from him about potentially returning to his former club, Nice. And the quote is, "I'm very attached to the city of Nice. As you know, I can't speak about concrete things. The club has to finish the season first. There are also 2 goalkeepers of high quality there, including one that is a good friend of mine in Kasper Schmeichel. You can understand that it's difficult to speak about these kind of subjects. I'll let fate handle things." I mean, that seems to me that he knows something that we don't, and maybe he is going to go back there.
I think he started his career there, didn't he?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he did.
Lyon,
yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if that's where he wants to end it. I think Nice, they had Gautier, didn't they? They were doing fairly well, and then I think he left there and went to PSG. I don't know how they did last season, but it wouldn't surprise me if they had the chance to get the former French captain for part of their side. That'll probably be not put them on the map a bit, but improve their profile a bit as well, having a goalkeeper like that. It would be harsh on Kasper Schmeichel, but I don't know how well he's done. And maybe they'll feel like, look, if they're going to have an old keeper, it might as well be one who played at the World Cup not so long ago for France, and has been a long time, considered one of the best French keepers for a long time. So wouldn't surprise me if they're very interested in getting him in. And I think he should jump at the chance to do it.
Doesn't Kasper have a few years on Lloris as well? Like a few years older?
Oh, older? I think he is, but I think it's similar age. I think Lloris is 36. I think maybe Kasper's 38.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Kasper's he is 36.
Oh, he's 36, same age then.
Fair enough. So no, he doesn't have a few years on him. They're exactly the same age. So it's interesting. I think this one will happen, to be honest. And I think that when you've got a goalkeeper of Hugo Lloris's stature, I mean, he's going to have a lot of admirers in France. And to go back to where you made your name and where you came through the ranks, it'll probably be a special homecoming for Nice and for Lloris.
The only stumbling block might be his wages. He might take a wage cut.
Yeah, so I think he knows that. I think he knows that.
I don't see Kasper's being on what
no,
Lloris
but I think Lloris knows that. I think he knows that the last contract he signed was probably the last big contract of his career.
Unless he goes to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, unless that happens. Yeah, fair enough. But let's talk about Tanguy Ndombele now. Sebastian Dennis, journalist for Foot Mercato, is saying that Tanguy Ndombele has told Napoli his plan to return to Tottenham and attempt to revive his career. Much to your delight, Sim. Much to your delight.
These are the noises you want to hear. Someone determined to work hard and get back on track and get.
He didn't say he's determined to do it. He's just going to say he's attempting to do it.
He wants to do it. Bring the man.
I'm sure
home.
He's wanted to do it before as well, but you can't get more than 10 minutes out of him on a pitch.
Well, maybe he's worked on that. Maybe under an attacking manager, you'll be able to get more out.
If he's worked on that, then we would have seen more minutes from him in a Napoli shirt this year, in a winning season when they went, a lot of games in the cup competitions, a lot of games in the Champions League, a lot of games in Serie A as well.
He started a semi-final.
He did start a semi-final, but he didn't pull up any trees there, and they had no interest of keeping him.
From what I saw, I know that, but look, you have to remember Napoli. They were winning every game, like 3 or 4-0, especially at the beginning of the season. Like, it was going to be extremely difficult to break into that team. How can you break into a team when without you they're winning every game by a big margin? So why would they put you in? There's no reason to.
There's also why you won't put him in, because he can't last.
Yeah, that may be also part of it, for sure. And maybe that's why he's restricted to cameos. But he still had 30 appearances. He did start on a quarterfinal and played fairly well in that game as well. So, look, I'm not saying that I think he is without his faults. But I just think if he's going to come back and I just think we should give him a chance. Potentially, if that's what the manager wants. If the manager looks at him and looks at his weather, does fitness tests and things, look, this guy's a dud. No, don't want to keep him around. Then fine. But I just think if the manager sees him and thinks I can work with this, I think there's no reason not to give him another chance.
Look, me personally, I do not want to give him another chance. But if whoever the manager is that comes in, let's say it is Postecoglou, and he does want to give him a chance, I'll buy into it and I'll back that. But I would strongly advise against it, to be honest, because of what we've seen before. We've seen it all before. I mean, we've seen other managers try and get him.
We've been a mess.
We've been a mess, but not only have we been a mess, he's also been a mess.
Yeah, but we've been more of a mess than him, in my opinion.
I don't know, man. How can you be a professional footballer on 200 grand a week and not get fit enough to play 90 minutes of football? How is that possible?
I don't know if it's as simple as that.
Well, tell me more then, because that's what we're seeing.
I just think it's the way we've been playing. I think a lot of the time it hasn't helped him. And I don't think he's that kind of player. We bought him for a certain way, and we've played very different ways ever since.
Yeah, that's fair enough, but that shouldn't impact your fitness levels and your desire to play for Tottenham Hotspur. We bought him for big money. He's on big wages. Like, the mentality can't be there.
There are games that like people like Højbjerg that can't seem to last 90 minutes. And like you're thinking like, it's not simply just because he's not fit. There's other factors.
Come on. Højbjerg played every game, every minute, and he gasses out from time to time, which is completely fair enough because we overplay him. Ndombele was never at that level of being overplayed. He was just gassing out and gassing out and gassing out. It's a completely different kettle of fish there.
Yeah, but look, maybe that's something that could be fixed.
Look, if we give him a chance, it better be fixed because we need him. If he's part of the squad, we're going to need him desperately. And look, I'm not saying anything otherwise because his talent is next to... I think he's one of the best technically gifted players in the Premier League. I really believe that. I really believe in his talent, but I just don't believe in his mentality. That's the thing. I don't believe
mentalities can change.
Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see. But I guarantee you, if we give him a chance, we'll be sitting here from this time next year, being like, get rid of him. He's a bad egg.
We might be, but I'm willing to take that chance.
All right. Well, that's your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on Tanguy Ndombele, your thoughts about any of the news topics we've brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.